Hello there, I'm Tino Roncone.
And I'm Theresa, Wylie.
Welcome to Action News Go.
Today we'll be taking a look at the statistics behind mass shootings.
And an in-depth look at the correlation between climate change and wildfires.
And explore the theory some hold that the Simpsons can predict the future.
But first we begin with a tragic story coming out of Massachusetts that has left one Buffalo Wild Wings employee dead and sent several others to the hospital after being exposed to a common cleaning agent. Just after 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, November 7th, emergency responders in Burlington were called to the scene where an employee of the restaurant was exposed to a sodium hypochlorite cleaning agent called Super 8. 9 employees and 2 customers were hospitalized as a result of this exposure.
A worker had prepared the floor with the cleaner and then immediately stepped outside for fresh air. A second worker then tried to squeegee the cleaning agent out of the restaurant, inhaling a lethal amount of the agent. Then he was transferred to a hospital where he died.
The U.S. Occupational Safety and Health Administration has been informed of the incident and that local law enforcement will conduct an investigation.
I hope they can get to the bottom of this before anyone else is harmed.
Absolutely.
Over the past decade, the frequency of mass shootings has reached epidemic proportions. Our reporter Matt Chafee explores social, political, and psychological aspects of this tragic trend.
Mass shootings are becoming an ever-growing epidemic in 2019, with over 300 lives cut short through gun violence. The first recorded mass shooting event took place over 50 years ago at the University of Texas, where 16 people were killed in a ruthless attack. Since then, mass gun violence has become far too common throughout the world, especially in America. This begs the question, is there a solution to these terrible tragedies? During the fourth quarter of 2019, there has been a mass shooting almost every 2 weeks, according to FBI agent Christopher Combs. Both students and faculty agree that America's gun control problem is out of hand.
I think that it's absolutely outrageous in a way.
Just like gun violence in general. Just like I hate it. I don't like guns really that much.
I think that it would help if some of the guns are taken off of the streets.
You can make as many laws as you want. You know, just like drugs or anything or underage drinking, people are going to still get access to it.
No matter what you do, if you take guns away, people are going to get them just like anything else. So I feel like they need to find a way to make it a little more strict.
Psychology experts and law enforcement have conducted research to determine the cause of the increase of violence in U.S. schools. In an interview with former Special Agent Greg Truhan, he agreed that mental health, upbringing, and bullying are key risk factors.
The research identified what are some factors in the people's lives that led them to this point. A lot of them had adverse childhood experiences. A lot of them had social, behavioral, psychological problems.
While the research shows that mental health issues are a common risk factor for mass shootings, movements towards keeping guns out of the wrong hands have been slow. Former Congressman John Barnes is very concerned with America's slow progress on gun control and agreed that restrictions for people with mental illness are an absolute must.
Well, it's a very, very complicated issue. We have to have people to understand that no one is trying to take away their right to have a gun. That is not the focus. What the focus is to make sure that people who should not have guns do not have access to the process. What happens is that you get this back and forth. On one side, it said, well, we want to take away somebody's gun, right? And we want to take away, no one in government has the authority to take away people's guns. I mean, that's just a misnomer, right? You might hear some of the presidential candidates saying, oh, we want to take away this, we want to take away that. That's not practical. And I think that it's very practical for us to want to ensure, and it's an absolute must, that people who have mental illnesses do not participate in a process where they're able to go out and just buy a gun.
While progress on the mass violence epidemic has been slow, it's important for everyone to follow prevention procedures until a solution is found. As a community, we must remain aware of what is being said both in person and online. If you hear or see anything that could be considered suspicious or threatening, please report it to the authorities so that they can intervene and hopefully prevent any further tragedies. Matt Chafee, Action News Go.
It leaves me wondering if we'll ever find a solution, Theresa.
Sadly, That's hard to predict, Tino. But speaking of predictions, there's a theory that has been floated by diehard fans of The Simpsons TV show. They assert that the show consistently predicts future events.
I'm a bit skeptical.
Well, before you judge, let's see what our investigators found out.
Lots of people believe The Simpsons can predict the future. What the creators say they have done is reach logical conclusions based on the facts presented to them and craft a gag around those conclusions.
So what are your thoughts on The Simpsons somehow predicting the future?
My thoughts, I think it's kind of weird. I mean, I know the whole conspiracy stuff, like, for example, the presidency of Trump.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
And the two videos side by side, within the actual episode, and it happening in real life, going down the escalator to the same hand motion, everything is just crazy.
Then they predicted catastrophes, Lady Gaga.
Do I think they plan the future or have ideas and insight as to what it is? No, I don't think anyone does. I think with them it's just sheer luck.
You have like all these conspiracy theories going around. I mean, I guess it's up to you if you want to believe it.
I think The Simpsons are pretty accurate. It'd be interesting to see if they predict anything in the future, man.
Fortnite had just ended its 10th competitive season with the black hole sucking up the map and players. People were claiming to see images within the black hole, making this eerily similar to a gag from the second season of The Simpsons.
Hey everybody, if you look real close, you can kind of make them out.
Yeah!
The Simpsons have had many other predictions through the years, including the Rolling Stones still touring in 2010 and the Siegfried and Roy tiger attack. Siegfried and Roy used tigers in their show, so it seems appropriate to believe that eventually the animal would lash out against them. Now, of course, there is also the most famous prediction from The Simpsons, Donald J. Trump serving as president of the United States. During the election, Simpsons creator Matt Groening had this to say about Trump becoming president.
I find it unlikely that he will get elected.
You find it unlikely he'll get elected at all?
Yeah.
Al Jean is also on record saying that the facts were there for this one as well. Trump had said for years before actually running that he would make a bid for the position.
The President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Sounds good.
While him winning is something I'm sure many didn't count on, there's still support behind the writer's prediction. Can they predict the future? Only time will tell. This is Lisa Pavlonis with Action News Go.
Are you a believer now?
When they predict the lotto numbers for the next drawing, then I'll get on board.
Coming up next, the secret to a long and happy relationship. And I do mean long.
The Indians player that should be an example to us all.
And California is still burning. After this.
Save thousands on your bachelor's or graduate degree at Lakeland's Holden University Center. Leading colleges and universities deliver quality education right on campus. I earned my Associate of Arts from Lakeland. Now I'm working on my bachelor's in psychology from Cleveland State.
I graduated with my degree in law enforcement. Now I'm pursuing my bachelor's in criminal justice through Youngstown State.
I'm earning my MBA from Lake Erie College at the Holden University Center. Get the degree you need at Lakeland's Holden University Center.
Hello again and welcome back to Action News Go. I'm Theresa Wylie alongside Tino Roncone. According to Guinness World Records, as of Friday, November 8th, with a combined age of 211 years, a husband and wife in Texas are officially the oldest living couple in the world. 106-year-old John Henderson and his 105-year-old wife, Charlotte, have a love story that is literally one for the ages. On December 15th, they will celebrate 80 years of marriage. The couple stated that the secret to a long and healthy relationship is to live life in moderation and be cordial to your spouse.
What an incredible story and an inspirational message. In more inspirational news, Cleveland Indians right-hander Carlos Carrasco has been named recipient of the 2019 Roberto Clemente Award. The Roberto Clemente Award is given annually to the player who best represents the game of baseball through extraordinary character, community involvement, philanthropy, and positive contributions both on and off the field. Carrasco was diagnosed earlier this year with a form of blood cancer called chronic myeloid leukemia, which sidelined him for much of the season. He would later return to the team as a reliever when rosters were expanded in September. Carrasco and his wife Carrie, among other things, provide box lunches for the homeless from their front porch of their home in Florida every other Sunday in the off-season. They also fund a scholarship for single mothers and have donated money for clothes, food, medicine, and school supplies to the underprivileged in the United States, Colombia, Venezuela, and Africa.
Wow, what an amazing athlete and human being.
That's for sure.
And finally, as wildfires rage on in California and other parts of the world, our investigative team gets to the heart of the matter with this report.
In the last year, California wildfires have cost the state $400 billion, destroyed more than 1,000 homes, and caused the loss of 85 lives. Normally, wildfires occur in the forested areas of California, but in the recent years, these fires have begun to threaten residential areas. Some say that the Amazon rainforest is the lungs of the world because this huge forest area turns carbon dioxide into 16% of the world's oxygen. With the frequency of Western U.S. wildfires increasing by 400% since 1970, the effects of climate change, or global warming, is called into question. We spoke to Mark Lefkowitz from the Green City Blue Lake organization for more information on our current environmental state.
So global warming is the result of rampant carbon emissions, and rampant carbon emissions are the result of human-led activity. We have a shot at reaching that sort of stable 2 degrees Celsius rise that we need to get to a safe climate and a safe habitable planet for us all to enjoy for future generations. Join a group that is engaged in climate action. Educate your friends and family about how the climate is changing and what's happening, what we can do about it, and then just be the change.
Earth's average temperature has been steadily increasing over the past 50 years, and this increase has and will continue to impact our environment. Nationally, our leaders have made some progress towards long-term solutions, but lately much of the progress is being implemented by state and local organizations. Cuyahoga Restoration is one such group.
People have to understand that being an environmentalist or being environmental in the way you live or look at the world is not just, oh, I recycle. Learning literacy and attention, learn about it and look at the world through that lens because it's going to affect everyone.
Glaciers and ice caps melting, wildfires, tropical storms, and more seem to be linked to greenhouse gases caused by global warming. But a true change in the way we treat our environment will not occur until the public has a solid understanding of this phenomena and the consequences of inaction.
Hi, this is Tim Carlile out here with Action News Go on the streets, and we're here with some Lakeland students asking them questions about global warming. What do you think about our planet's current issues with global warming?
I mean, it's a pretty severe issue. I mean, if you look at Antarctica and all like the little polar bears, it's pretty bad.
Global warming makes the earth too hot for me, and we destroy natural habitats. So I don't like it.
Who exactly do you think is to blame for global warming?
I mean, I feel like pollution has a big factor in that, so it's probably all the pollution.
Really just us. There's nothing an animal could do at fault, or nature itself, so definitely humans for sure.
What do you think is something that everybody can do to help combat climate change?
Stop destroying trees, natural habitats, and slaughtering of animals, which we need to survive.
Hey, well, that's all the time we have for Action News Go on the Streets. This has been Federico Esperon here with Tim Carlile.
Boy, I hope they get that under control soon.
I know. I feel so bad for the homeowners and the business owners out there. They're enduring so much. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'm Tino Roncone.
And I'm Theresa Wylie for Action News Go. Thanks for watching. Oh, how about that Browns win?
How about that, huh?
I can't believe it.
One out.
Right, yeah.
It was ugly, but it worked.
I'll take a win, whatever it takes.
Man.
Stay warm this week.
I know,
it's
right?
Gonna be so cold tomorrow.
We'll get a new hat.
There you go. Hat, gloves, everything.
Yeah.
It's too early for this, but what
is.
can you do? It's Ohio. Roller coaster weather, up and down.
We're due for a cold winter.
Sadly.
We are due for a cold winter.
I know, unfortunately. If you don't like the weather, just wait a minute. It'll change.
Oh.